I hope this message gets out to whoever's willing and wanting to hear it. I know I haven't been on here in a while just because I've been, I don't even know how to explain everything. I was thinking how so many different things that we've been exposed to in Hollywood have kind of desensitized us maybe to war and what war is. I've been watching these videos of actual people there in the front lines.
629 people will be wounded, some multiple times over, as they move from place to place, many of them literally blown to pieces. They include 48 mothers each day, 2 every hour, and over 117 children each day, leading UNICEF to call Israel's actions a war on children. On current rates,
Why do I find this so scary to talk about? This is what I believe in, and I don't want to hear anything else. And that is really a scary thing to do. People are uncomfortable to talk about things. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. You know, I make mistakes. I did live a very unconscious life. I look back and I did live from a point of not being aware. And the thing about being aware is once you become aware, you cannot just turn it off. There's a part of me that knows what's going on, and I want to give voice to the voiceless, even if it means being silenced. At least I feel like I've reached a few people and maybe they can talk about it. And the more and more people that talk about it and shed light on what's going on, maybe then the movement will be big enough that we will hold people accountable for their actions. I went to this event last year thinking that it was a protest, and it was, but it wasn't the one I was looking for. Going into 2024, it just feels like last year regifted and passed off like it's a new year, but we're still dealing with a lot of things that are going on from previous year, and it's been really weighing on me. I'm here. I don't know where everybody else is. Last year this time, I went to an event and I didn't post it. I mean, I was making something and I'm gonna post it now, but it just was a very dark time. It still is a dark time. I showed up to this rally and I don't see anybody here. It's just a bunch of abortion, pro-life protesters, or it's like a pro-life speaking. So anyway, I'm with my sign, but I don't see not one person. So I'm here. I don't know where everybody else is.
All of us, a moral code in our heart. When we believe it or not, we know what's right and wrong.
I saw this woman who was a pro-lifer. She was speaking in front of everyone about how every life is precious and how they saved 75 babies that year from abortions. And I walked up and down that crowd and I held my sign because I thought, if any, this is the best place to reach out. These are people that love children, that love babies. and think babies are precious and special and they need to be protected. And so I went up to that lady, and she was the head speaker. And I said, and I showed her my sign, and it showed 10,000. At the time, there was only 10,000 only, right? Now it's way, way more. 10,000 children is a lot compared to 75 that she saved. So I thought she would want to know. And I told her, I said, did you know? And I talked to her what was going on, and she didn't seem to care. And I said, well, aren't they all God's children? And she said that she was pro. But I thought she was a pro-lifer.
God answers prayers. Diapers, wipes, cribs, clothes, absolutely anything they will need to choose life.
To only protect one type of child. If you're a religious person and you truly follow what these religious books teach and the message that people like Jesus taught, it was this universal love, and that you help the people that need the help the most. I feel ashamed that I live in a country that feels this is the way. For the beginning of that, there was so much video. It was a live coverage of what's going on over there. And then these people were being wiped out.
Hey everyone, this is Bissam from Gaza. I'm still alive. I'm surviving after the day 3 after 100. But that might be the last day or the last night in Nasser Medical Complex, as the hospital is near to the invasion.
To actually see daily blogs, actual journalists. I saw both sides. They're actually posting it on IG, but it's being censored because they don't want people to see that. They want you to believe the current narrative. People from the press are being silenced, literally silenced, where they can't ever speak again. One of the craziest things that I saw was in the very beginning, a baby being held and cameras all around filming. It was like one of the first casualties. There were many, many, but it was one of the first few hundreds, I'm sure, and so young. This perspective of this camera filming, other cameras all surrounding this child, it just, you know, today right now is Easter. Like, it's supposed to be resurrection. And, you know, I think about what did all that mean? How can we love one child and not another? I feel like nobody really acknowledges what's going on in the world. This is total disconnect to not care at all about a group of people, and this is not the only people, there are many people that are in this situation all around the world. They are suffering from corporate greed that is fueled by people like the whole thing with China and the Gucci sandals that are only $4 to make and they charge over $300 something. That's the greed I'm talking about. This idea that we need to spend our money on stuff like this versus we're feeding that system. It's like the more that we work and to be able to buy these things to make ourselves look like we are this or we are that, and that is what's fueling this massive corporate greed, because it's lining their pockets. It's destroyed the middle class. It's made me realize that people fight dirty. Life is not important. My eyes were really opened this past 2 years. These people that have become martyrs, it's not in vain, because I feel that more and more people are seeing what's going on, and it is a topic of discussion. People are talking about it, and they can silence social media, censor things, change the algorithm to completely divide people. And so then there's no room for a discussion. There's no room to talk about different viewpoints. It's like, this is what I believe in and I don't want to hear anything else. And that is really a scary thing to do. People are uncomfortable to talk about things. While I was walking through the crowd, I didn't realize, but a man with sunglasses and hat was following me. I felt alone, afraid to speak up, and a woman yelled, and then I realized I wasn't alone.
Next weekend, Saturday, there's a protest here, 1 o'clock. If you're pro-life, 1 o'clock next Saturday.
What is ceasefire mean?
Really? You don't know? Okay, I'll let you know. Just so you know, my name is Nora. I'm ex-military veteran, Air Force. I served in the Air Force for 5 years.
We give them facts so that they can make informed decisions. We tell them the reality, not the lies on social media.
A lot of the military members that came back, they realized that they were fighting for something that wasn't true. We were fighting for oil. We were fighting for American interests.
We're fighting for oil in Afghanistan?
In the Middle East, yes. Gulf War, during Gulf War II.
I do not support what's going on. I'm actually sick to my stomach because as military members, we're sold this idea that we are going in to save people and stop. We're the ones that go in and save and get people their freedom. I just cannot believe in this situation what is going on. It really opened my eyes, especially for someone who grew up being a Navy brat. Churches, how they are spreading this information, this chosen people verse. can't understand how people can still be brainwashed. Like, I've literally talked to people that say, oh, well, they're the chosen ones. I don't see how that justifies what's going on. We can turn a blind eye, yes. But still inside, like, I feel that what's going on now is history repeating itself. We have been made to believe that we are the ones that go in and protect and fight for what is right. And we are a part of this.
Settlers keep coming in and settling the land, and there's an apartheid. If you look it up, what an apartheid is. Just didn't show it on the mainstream media because they want most people to think.
We're not allowed to talk about it. Why is that? My dad was in during the Gulf WAR. His job, title, when I think back on it, and being in Puerto Rico where I was born, the island of Vieques being destroyed through dropping ordnance, that type of thing, and it just really destroyed that land. And these people that are living in this island, this was their island. And it wasn't too long ago that we came in. It wasn't like Columbus times. It was much later where businessmen came in and took that land. And are they being treated like an actual U.S. citizen? No. The infrastructure right now is what I've heard is they don't even have power. The power grid's down. And so this island of Puerto Rico is like a third world country, and it's part of the U.S. It's a Commonwealth. Commonwealth. What does that even mean? I remember when there was the hurricane that happened through there, and it was flooded, and it was just a mess getting there to help people. And when I look back in history at some of these things that just happened recently with Puerto Rico and places like Guantanamo Bay, how we took that so we can side-skirt Geneva Conventions, it's just really sick. When is it a time to check out when you're seeing unjust? I think about what happened to the millions and millions of people in these camps that were, and the way I'm talking is being a little bit more discreet. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then maybe you should do some researching. Many military members realize that who they're working for is not what they thought. It is for corporate greed. It is for resources. It is using people up that have a service to others type of mentality. These are people that want to help others, and they come from a place of providing service to others. And so when a lot of these members return, they have a lot of guilt and pain and post-traumatic stress disorder from seeing and experiencing something that like I couldn't even explain, because I've not been in a situation where I'm in the front lines. But I can have empathy for that, and I can put myself in their shoes if I were to see something like this or do something like this. And because I can do that, and I think about what's going on right now, with these people. And I wanted to know more, so I've been researching and following along, and it really connects me to the history of our own land and how we colonized this area and the truth of how it was done. And then I see things like Hawaii, and Alaska and Puerto Rico, and I see this pattern that was not even that long ago. And then it makes sense. When I say that pledge as a military member, I believed it meant something. And now I look back and I know, especially reading about the history of I have a little mama bird that's actually just living in my light just above me. And so every time she comes in with some sort of little insect, the babies are just tweeting. That's what they're. I just keep remembering that when I read about history, I always think in that moment, why didn't these people do something? Like, what was going on at that time? And just, I think like any movement, there are people that participate and there are people that don't even know about what's going on, or they don't want to know. They'd rather just be disconnected from that. Yes, I have thought about how everything happens for reasons. I've felt that in my life, maybe not in the moment that it's occurring, but after the fact, I realize, oh wow, that's what I really needed. And I think in the end, it's always been a lesson for me to come back to that thing that makes us different from other species. It's that we have a consciousness to be able to feel if something that is being done, is it from a place of love? I think about these people that are living in this land that they've been living in for a very long time, and they've raised their families, and this is their home. And how we can see this playing out, and the thought that we are supporting this. It's just, I think the most scariest part is that the people that are my elected officials that represent our nation that they're being bought and paid for. I cannot believe that in my lifetime I'm seeing this. I thought we were beyond this. And I know deep down we are beyond this. But I feel like with any movement, you want to weaken it, and that is through fear, through underpayment, being overworked, being bogged down with everything else that it's harder for people to come together, especially if you feel comfortable in your situation in the moment. This last election was a joke. We could have all just voted third party. Lesser of two evils. Why do we have to choose between that? If our country is the one that's all about liberty and justice and united, we've become complacent in all of this.